Good afternoon. We are the team from CHIJ St. Nicholas Girls School Secondary. I'm Siobhan and these are my teammates. You see, Yushan, Hayut, and Karen. And so we see that the question we have chosen today is the LCM Sudoku. Each column, each row, and each 3x3 box must contain the numbers from 1 to 9. And the numbers at the end of the rows and columns are the lowest common multiples of the alphabets found in the row and column. Now let me pass my time on to Hayut.
Firstly, we'll have to find the values of A and M. We know that the LCM of A and M is 30, and the factors of 30 are 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, and 6 and 5. So, based on the criteria that each number must be less than 10, we know that the only factors that we can use for A and M is 5 and 6. Now we'll move on to solving A and B. The LCM of A and B is 45, and the factors of 45 are 1 and 45, 3 and 15, and 5 and 9. And based on the criteria I mentioned earlier, the only values that can substitute A and B is 5 and 9. Now we'll move on to solving the exact values for A, M, and B. We know that the values for A and M is 5 or 6, and the values for A and B is 5 or 9. And since the criteria of the LCM Sudoku is that the values cannot be repeated more than once, A is definitely 5, leaving B to be 9 and M to be 6. Therefore, this is our results. And this is how it will look like when we substitute it into our Sudoku. Now, I'll pass the time to Yoshan.
Now, let's find B and C with reference to column A. The LCM of B and C is 28. The factors of 28 is 1 and 28, 2 and 14, and 7 and 4. Since the letters can only be lesser than 10, therefore C and B can only be 4 or 7. Now let's find C and W with reference to row E. The LCM of C and W is 56. Therefore, the factors of 56 is 1 and 56, 2 and 28, 4 and 14, 7 and 8. Since the letters can only be lesser than 10, therefore W and C can only be 7 or 8. Now, we know that B and C is 7 or 4, and C and W is 7 or 8 with reference to column A and row E. And since each number cannot be repeated more than once, therefore C has to be 7, B has to be 4, and W has to be 8. This is the results that we have so far and how it looks when we substitute them into the LCM Sudoku.
How do we calculate the LCM? You see that when we have 2 letters, we can use the multiplication to find out the LCM. However, when we have 3 or more letters, we have to use a method as shown below. For example, when we are trying to find the LCM of 8, 3, and 6, we have to draw the table as seen in the slides. We can divide the numbers by prime numbers that are also multiples of the remaining number. The product of the prime numbers will give us the LCM. And now let me pass the time to BT.
Now let's find E. From the working before, we know that B equals 9 and A equals 5. By referring to column B, we know that the LCM of B, E, and A is 90. By drawing a table, we know that 3 times 3 times 5 times E equals 90. And because 3 times 3 times 5 equals 45, hence E must be 2. These are the results so far, and this is how it looks like when we substitute it in the LCM Sudoku. Now I'll pass the time to Karen. From the previous workings, we know that V is 4, C is 7, and B is 9. According to the LCM Sudoku, the LCM of V, C, B, and N is 252. Therefore, it gives us a possibility that N is 1 or 2. However, E is 2, therefore N is 1. Now I'm going to pass the time over to Siobhan to complete our LCM Sudoku.
Let us find the value of D. Since there are 9 letters and 9 numerical values, the remaining letter D will be of the remaining numerical value 3. Hence, A is equal to 5, M is equal to 6, B is equal to 9, C is equal to 7, D is equal to 4, W is equal to 8, E is equal to 2, N is equal to 1, and D is equal to 3. And we see that this method of solving the LCM Sudoku is logical and analytical. We begin by analyzing the question and solving the problem starting with the rows and columns that have only 2 letters. We would like to thank our teachers Mr. Kwa Yi Xiang and Mrs. Julia Yeo. And we would also like to thank you for watching our presentation.